guys. Okay, so my name is Sarah, and I brought fiction. It's short fiction, and then I have some shorts that are nonfiction. And tonight's kind of all about being like 7, 8 years old again. And so this first story that I have is called The Pot Roast. It was published in the Rebel as a prize for winning a contest over at UCA. So you might have read it before, but yes, this is my fiction called The Pot Roast. The day the 2 men came with a letter from Mama, she broke down crying in the door as the warm breeze brushed over her and into the house. She sat there for over an hour crying, and our friends and neighbors walked by. None of them stopped to ask what was wrong. They already knew. She clenched the letters in her hand, screaming and sobbing. Then she stopped and stared down the street, as if she was waiting for something. She stared and stared and stared, and the sun went down. Billy and Maggie kept asking Mama what was wrong and trying to get her to come inside, but I don't think she heard them. So I took them back to their rooms and popped in a movie for them, then went back to watching Mama watch the street. The next morning she woke up and went to the grocery store before any of us even thought about getting out of bed. When we walked into the kitchen, there was a feast on the table of eggs, sausages, bacon, pancakes, waffles, fruits, whipped cream, syrup, chocolate sauce, and Cocoa Puffs for Billy. Mama never did anything like this. She sat down at the table and told us it was a new day, that the letter said that they weren't quite sure where Daddy was, but he was going to come home, and it could be any day now. She said he was missing, but they were going to find him and bring him home. It was a promise, and we all cheered, and Mama smiled, but it was a fake smile. I could see that, but Billy and Maggie believed it. That night we had roast for dinner. Billy and Maggie don't like roast, but that's because they're 5 and not 7 like me. So they whined the whole time until Mama said roast was Daddy's favorite food, and she promised to be on the table when we got home. And he got home, and Daddy might be home for dinner. This put smiles on their faces, and they began to wait impatiently to impress Daddy with how they'd eat pot roast now. Eventually, Mama let Billy and Maggie up from the table. I wanted to stay with her even though she didn't talk. The roast just sat there while Billy and Maggie watched both Shrek and Shrek 2 on TV with commercials and all. Mama stared. Occasionally I checked out the window. The street was empty. No one ever came. So finally Mama told us we could all eat. The night after that was the same, and the night after that, and the night after that. After a while we would ask to go over to a friend's house, but Mama would always say no, because that would be the night that Daddy was going to come home. When he didn't come home, though, sometimes Mama would just go to bed without even clearing off the table. But I don't think she ever slept. One night, Maggie saw Mama crying in the treehouse from our window after she thought we were all asleep in bed. She snuck over and opened the window to hear her crying and screaming at Jesus and telling God damn it over and over. We didn't know where Mama wanted God to build this dam, but she must have wanted it real bad because she kept screaming it over and over. I closed the window for a moment, and I think Mama knew we were out of bed, but she just went back to crying in the treehouse. After a while, Mama got a necklace from a man. I saw only the chain falling out of her hand while she walked to her room, wiping tears away from her eyes. That night we had chicken.